When Christie Tate found herself wanting to die at 26, she knew something had to give. She found herself a therapist and joined his group sessions, and she credits the people in that group with saving her life.
And it's all detailed in her new book, Group, which Reese Witherspoon announced just yesterday as her latest book club pick. And Christie joins us now from her home in Chicago. First off, congratulations. As I just mentioned, announced yesterday, you are the November Reese Witherspoon book club pick. It's kind of like winning the lottery for authors. Tell us how you found out.
Oh, 100%. It's definitely like the lottery. I got a call back in July, and they told me not to tell anybody. And so that's really difficult for me because one of the premises of my group and of my therapy is don't keep secrets. But in this case, I made an exception because it's Reese Witherspoon.
Now, you've said that you started this book truly believing no one would ever read it, and that's what made you write the truth and spill all the secrets. Why did you think no one would read it?
I just didn't know that I didn't know if I had the writing chops to create a book that would have all the elements that a reader deserves: a clear arc, good storytelling. That is a really hard thing to pull off, and it takes a really long time. And I didn't know if I had the chops or if I would be able to stick with it that long.
Well, Christie, I've got news. It's going to now be read by millions of people. So now that you know that, looking back, is there something in the book that maybe you would have held back on if you knew it was going to be read by that many people?
That's a great question. And the answer is no, because when I think about people I don't know reading the book, that's not the scary part to me. What was most frightening to me was showing it to the people first in my group who have all read the book. I wanted them to feel like I honor the work that we do while also protecting their privacy. So once my group mates signed off, and Dr. Rosen, the therapist in the book and in my life, once they signed off, I had no more fear whether 100 people read it or 1 million, if I'm so lucky. The real deal were the intimates in my life.
Now, speaking of that group, I know the mantra of that group, and you mentioned that just this moments ago, that secrets are toxic. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. How I understood it was the idea of keeping a secret for somebody else. And it doesn't have to be something huge like someone who murdered someone, but let's say you have a close friend who drinks a lot and wants you to not notice or not tell her spouse or your spouse. Those are secrets too. And when we agree to hold secrets, meaning not talk about something with other people, that becomes a source of shame inside of me. If someone tells me something like, don't tell anybody, and I feel inhibited, I can't tell my spouse, I can't tell my therapy group, that means I'm holding on to the shame that the other person feels, and I'm participating in a process where I say, okay, I'll hold your shame and clamp it down inside my body, and that doesn't serve me.
Well, this past year has been so tough for so many of us, and many people, Christie, are considering therapy for the first time. And we hear this all the time, that it's okay not to be okay. What would you say to those who are maybe hesitating when it comes to therapy?
I would say get there sooner rather than later, because it is such a trying time. There are so many stressors. And people ask me all the time if I recommend group over individual. And I really think that's an individual's choice that they should decide with their doctor. But what I will say about group is, especially now in these trying times, number one, it's way cheaper than individual. And I first did group because I was on a student budget and I didn't have great insurance and I didn't have a great job. So the price was attractive. And one of my biggest complaints was isolation and loneliness. So when you start a group, you get a relationship with a therapist plus the 5 other people. And if people are suffering with loneliness now, which seems quite likely, some kind of therapy is a way to get another set of eyes and input into your life.
Well, you don't feel as alone for sure. Now, some people have asked whether or not the stories of the people in your group were yours to tell, which you've told in this book. And I know you just said that you had the group read the book and they gave their blessing. So how do you respond to that criticism from the public?
I think that's a great question, and that's exactly the question the public should be asking of me. And my answer to that is, I told stories about the way that my group mates interacted with me in my story. And anything that was about them personally has been changed. There's no identifying information. And in earlier drafts, I told, for example, a character, Brad, I told why he was there and what he was dealing with. And then I did one full draft where I just took out anything that didn't belong to me. If those weren't stories where somebody gave me a piece that I needed in my journey that they gave me for myself, I just took it out because those aren't my stories to tell. And I was very careful, and I worked with my group mates to walk that line.
All right, well, Christie's book, Group, How One Therapist and a Circle of Strangers Saved My Life, is available now. Christie, thanks so much for the time this morning. Be well.
Thank you very much.